in Nujia village, Linen Prefecture, Liangzhou West Road, Zhang Shiwu sang Yi Sanjia's festival with a bamboo stick and a drum in one hand and a pearwood board in one hand. Guo Jing's father Guo Xiaotian and Yang Kang's father Yang Tiexin could not help but gnash their teeth and sigh in anger. Yes, this is the opening scene of Jin Yang's martial arts novel, The Legend of the Condor Heroes. In the infinite flow inherent light curtain, Yang Dian stared at Guo Xiaotian and Yang Tiexin in a daze. 3 days ago, Yang Dian accidentally broke into the main god's space due to fate. Unexpectedly, what awaited him was not the regular pattern of the reincarnation team's breakthrough. Yang Dian was born in a single-parent family and has not seen his father since the baby opened his eyes. When I asked Diane's mother looked up at the bright, starry sky with sadness. Your father is an alien. One day, when the war came to his hometown, he picked up a gun and ran to the frontier. Yang Dian was doubtful when he was in kindergarten, completely disbelieving when he was in elementary school, and now he is doubtful again. When Yang Dian unexpectedly came to this god space, he was shocked to find that there was a crystal white ball in his mind like a glass ball. It was the bloodline trait of his alien father described by Diane's mother when he was a child. All the hardships came to an end, and Yang Dian waited for the benefits of alien blood. This crystal white ball is 50% science fiction and 50% fantasy. Fantasy means it is bound to the misty soul, and science fiction means it believes in materialism and provides Yang Dian with plug-in assistance similar to a supercomputer. The alien bloodline of the crystal white ball is comparable to that of the main god space. The main god space fought with a crystal white ball for 3 days and 3 nights, but they still could not kill Yang Dian, who was protected by the crystal white ball. It's a pity that the crystal white ball failed to defeat the main god space. Although the main god space could not eliminate Yang Dian, the evil guest, Yang Dian could not transcend the main god space and find freedom. The main god space hates Jingying White Ball and Yang Dian. It will never give them bloodline skills, weapons, magic weapons, etc. Yang Dian can never be strengthened through the system of the main god space. Fortunately, there is also a crystal white ball of alien blood to assist. Different from the main god space magic bloodline redemption model, Jingying White Ball values soul strength and only soul strength. The higher the soul strength of Yang Dian, the more benefits he will unlock. Yang Dian's current soul strength is 13, so the crystal white ball gave Yang Dian 7205 bionic intelligent cores and 1.59 million cubic meters of private space. The private school space was initially an absolute vacuum, with no mass or temperature, only the passage of time. When an iron knife and a bucket of water are thrown in, the concept of temperature and quality is born in the private school space, and the chemical reaction between the two is guided. It is not like the mustard space that stores items in fairy tales, but more like a living, independent, small universe. The core of bionic intelligence is the legendary artificial intelligence based on the principles of human brain neurons, and its learning intelligence is not inferior to that of humans. The crystal white ball extraterrestrial blood plugin has eroded some of the authority of the main god space artificial human. It can transform the artificial intelligence core into a humanoid bionic robot and deliver the plot plane to assist Yang Dian. For example, in the current plot world of The Legend of the Condor Heroes, Yang Dian can activate the golden finger at any time to create 7,205 bionic intelligent robot subordinates to help. Although their bodies are as fragile as ordinary humans, they are intelligently networked with each other, share vision and intelligence, are impersonal and fearless of death, and other characteristics. When they form an army, they can easily defeat an enemy 10 times stronger. The light curtain fades and then disappears. Under the intervention of the Lord's divine power, the villagers showed no signs of surprise, and some even nodded to Yang Dian, as if Yang Dian was originally a member of Nujia village. After finishing the story, Guo Xiaotian and Yang Tiexin jointly invited Zhang Shiwu to drink and comment on current affairs. Yang Diangong had just reviewed the plot of the Legend of the Condor Heroes and knew that Chu Lingfeng, a disciple of Huang Yaoshi, stayed at the small hotel in Miujia village, but it was extremely difficult to find him to learn martial arts from him. Furthermore, the main god space hates Yang Dian and is bound to obstruct it in every possible way, and the crystal white ball seems to be a product of technological civilization that is inconsistent with the style of the current plot world. Even if Chu Lingfeng is willing to teach, Yang Dian may not have enough talent to learn it thoroughly. Instead of suffering like this, it would be better to open a new business again, cultivate fields and technology, build muskets, and line up to shoot people to find a new path. This is not impossible. A single person traveling through the Song dynasty would influence 30 people in 5 years, and 30 people would influence another 30 people in 5 years. In 10 years, it would still be a small group of 900 people. But Yang Dian has 7,200 bionic intelligent robot assistants, and after 10 years of expansion at the same rate, there are 6.48 million people. Just imagine, how many people did Britain have during the first industrial revolution in real history? Thanks to the base advantage, Yang Dian will be able to rise quickly. Another example is training a new army. If the ratio of platoon-level officers is maintained and one bionic intelligent robot instructor teaches 30 people, 1,000 bionic intelligent robot instructors can handle 30,000 new recruits. With the muskets and the support of sufficient instructor resources, 1 month of hard training can make a group of farmers look good, and another 2 months of training can lead them to the battlefield to kill and hone their growth. This is the advantage of the army, and it is also the advantage of the 7,200 biochemical intelligent robot plugins. There is no need to doubt the capabilities of bionic intelligent robots. They are networked with each other and share the scientific heritage of the 21st century. Everyone is a high-quality talent who pays equal attention to both civil and military skills and is familiar with hundreds of disciplines. If the Central Plains were unified, wouldn't it be easy to learn martial arts? Whoever dares to hide his secrets will be killed. Yang Dian strengthened his belief in farming and cultivating technology and began to wonder where to start a business. At this time, it was the first year of Qingyuan in the Southern Song dynasty, 1195 AD. No one. Temujin was about to rise in Mabe, and Shaanxi, Gansu, Jin, and Liao were gradually losing their peaceful land. If we want to develop industry stably, the land for farming must have iron and coal. We ignore the northwest and northeast, as well as the Southern Song dynasty, and suddenly only Shandong is left. Yang Dian left immediately and left Linen Mansion the next day, ignoring the plot of the Condor shooting. Considering that the Southern Song dynasty could not be chaotic for the time being, Yang Dian set foot in the Jin kingdom and began to rob the rich and help the poor to collect strategic materials. Private space is a good thing. Yang Dian could easily collect 3,000 tons of grain and countless iron, gold, silver, and other raw materials by walking along Jinghua Nanjing Road. The Nanjing Road of the Kingdom of Jin was in a state of panic due to the theft of food. To Yang Dian's surprise, the food theft case was covered up by the officials, nobles and gentry, who would rather deal with it internally than file a lawsuit. If you think about it carefully, it makes sense. It is a national practice for rats to eat food. If it leads to high-level investigation, many officials on Nanjing Road will be shown to be greedy. It is better to think of another more credible reason. The economic foundation of the Southern Song dynasty was excellent. If the incompetence of the Song army's repeated defeats could be ignored, it might not be the harmonious and prosperous era that the people longed for. The economy in the Kingdom of Jin is much worse than that, especially on the Shandong East Road and Shandong East Road in Huaibei. Floods, droughts, and famines caused by the Yellow River's diversion of the Huai River have made the people along the way miserable, and there are miserable refugees everywhere. Yang Dian had no sympathy and urged Jin officials to provide disaster relief. So he went straight to Laiwu County in Taiyin Prefecture among the mountains on the east and west road of Shandong. At the foot of the mountains in the northeast of Laiwu County, Yang Dian activated the crystal white ball plugin and saw the space vibrate slightly for 3 to 5 seconds, and 7,205 bionic intelligent robots appeared out of thin air. 2,100 bionic intelligent robots organized themselves into an army. There is no bugle, and there is no need to have a bugle. They are intelligently networked with each other to share vision and intelligence. The status of the leader of the team is instantly transmitted to the rear of the team, and the order of the rear of the team is immediately transmitted to the leader of the team. The efficiency of the 21st century information age cannot compare with them. Farming requires planning, and time units are the basis. Yang Dian had no intention of honoring the Jing Shua of the Southern Song dynasty, let alone the Jin dynasty calendar. So he changed the Ganji calendar to use solar terms such as beginning of spring, Jingjia, Shaohan as the first month of the month, and changed 1195 to the first year of the new calendar. On October 10th, year 1 of the new calendar, Yang Dian activated 7,200 bionic intelligent robots and ordered them to level the land on the spot to build a temporary military camp. At the same time, dozens of bionic intelligent robots scattered around to draw a three-dimensional map of Laiwu County and monitor the movements of local officials in Laiwu. The skeletal muscles of the bionic intelligent robot are the same as those of humans. The only difference is that its brain carries a supercomputer-level auxiliary brain core, which can quickly convert what the eyes see and the ears hear into three-dimensional data and can be uploaded to the server to share what it sees and hears with other bionic intelligent robots. Dozens of bionic intelligent robots can easily obtain accurate topographic maps of Laiwu County by walking around in a circle, with efficiency far exceeding that of the 21st century. There were 2,000 sets of stolen Jinbing military uniforms and weapons in the private space. Bionic intelligent robots disguised themselves as Jinbing and blocked the surrounding area of the military camp. The local people were too afraid to speak out. Even the officials from Laiwu County who sent officials to visit were turned away with the words state secrets. The military camp was located in Gongli, Hebei province. Although this area was a piece of thin farmland, it also had an owner. However, Jinbing had always been arrogant, and his owner did not dare to ask Yang Dian to tell right from wrong. In this way, Yang Dian used the Jin soldiers' reputation for brutality to simply seize ownership of the land surrounding the military camp. Bionic intelligent robots can eat free lunches from the Lord God's space without consuming the limited food resources in the plot world. He has the scientific literacy of a 21st century all-rounder, but is also willing to plow the fields and dig. Such hardworking and high-quality people cannot do it in the plot world. The bionic intelligent robot has extremely high labor efficiency. It can dig kilns and bake bricks, cut wood, and smelt iron. After working hard for several months, despite the cold wind, the military camp has taken shape. When I was the magistrate of Laiwu County, I also knew that something was wrong. Hey, how can there be such a kind Jinbing in the world? But on the one hand, they're afraid of trouble, and on the other hand, they have an ostrich mentality. As long as this golden soldier does not officially rebel, why bother to cause trouble? If they were forced to do so, wouldn't it be harmful to themselves if they rebelled? They could just pretend they didn't see it. Unlike a single person traveling through the Song dynasty, 7,200 intelligent robots share the scientific theories of the 21st century and can always find better solutions to real-world problems beyond the limitations of the times. From matchlock guns to nuclear bombs, from railway tracks to high-speed rail, there are no technical difficulties. The only problem lies in the lack of industrial population. Except for a group of elite bionic intelligent robots, the humans in the plot world are all illiterate eggs who do not understand mathematics, physics, and chemistry. The high ones are high and the low ones are low. Don't think about educating them into talents without 20 years of hard work. Even if the conditions are lower, short-term literacy and vocational education will probably take 3 to 5 years to be useful. Of course, expansion is still necessary. Good steel is used on the blade. Now that the military camp is in rough shape, Highly sophisticated talents like bionic intelligent robots can no longer be wasted on chores such as logging and weeding. The locals in the plot world can still help with low-threshold hard work, such as iron or coal transportation, earth excavation, farmland drainage, etc. Note 1. After Gene Young's new revision of Century, the main plot of The Condor is self-consistent, but still seriously conflicts with history. Choosing 1195 can alleviate the time conflicts of historical events to the greatest extent. Chapter 002 Red Army. 002 Red Army. How to expand. Attack the city or surround the city with the countryside. Yang Dian thought while checking the information. The Taizu of the later republic chose the countryside to surround the city because he judged the current situation. He realized the difficulties of fighting in the city before moving to the countryside. If there were 3 million Red Army troops at that time, you would see whether he would give in. Water has no permanent shape, and soldiers have no permanent potential. The right one is the best. What about the current national situation? Compared with the Jin Kingdom's hundreds of thousands of troops, the number of 7,200 bionic intelligent robots is at a disadvantage. But don't forget the network sharing and fearless characteristics of bionic intelligent robots. 7,200 bionic intelligent robots are engaged in guerrilla warfare. With the help of network sharing and high-speed computing superpowers, it is not impossible to defeat the million-strong army of the Jin Kingdom. In other words, if the background of legend of the Condor heroes is ignored, Yang Dian can definitely bring down the kingdom of Jin. But it's easy to destroy, but difficult to build. So what's the point of killing the kingdom of Jin like this? Considering the balance of strength, attacking cities and encircling cities from rural areas requires a dynamic balance, actively occupying rural positions and actively defending urban nails. On December 16th, the first year of the new calendar, Yang Dian tore through the disguise of the Jin soldiers and officially raised the anti-Jin flag. At the end of the Jin dynasty, there was an uprising by the Red Coat Army, and at the end of the Yuan dynasty, there was an uprising by the Red Scarf Army. Red, which symbolizes bloody sacrifice and rebirth from the ashes, is originally a Chinese rebel tradition. Based on the memory of the Red Coat Army, Yang Dian cut the golden soldier's armor and covered it in red, and simply transformed into a Red Coat Army. Just as the Central Plains dynasty controlled the border tribes when it was strong, after the Jurchens came to power, they also controlled and appointed Han officials and used the powerful Han people to suppress the Han people at the bottom. The Central Plains dynasty had very low requirements for the border tribes. As long as they did not resist or invade the inner government, the Central Plains dynasty would protect the inheritance of the rights of the chieftains and even actively sent troops to assist the chieftains in annihilating the opposition within their tribes. The Jin Kingdom also had the same strategy to rule the Han people. On the one hand, it warned against the rebellion of the Han tycoons, and on the other hand, it allowed the Han tycoons to oppress the Han people. The more unpopular the Han tycoons were in the local area, the more the Jurchen nobles trusted and valued them. In short, regardless of their status as slaves, these Han powerful men had much more freedom when serving the Jin Kingdom than they did when serving the Zhao and Song dynasties. As long as they did not hinder the interests of the Jurchen nobles, they would not be impeached and prosecuted by other court officials no matter how much they oppressed or exploited the Han people. It is also because of such interests that no matter how kindly the Han people treat these powerful people after recovering the Central Plains, the powerful people will still remember the Xiongming emperor of the Jin Kingdom with bitterness and tears, curse the darkness of today's rule, and who is a scholar official who was impeached and accused by the censor after he tortured several servants. There are awakened individuals, but the powerful Han class who serve the Jin Kingdom have all degenerated into accomplices of the Jurchen nobles. Don't expect them to be willing to correct the chaos. The powerful Han people and the powerful Jurchens must be defeated at the same time. Yang Dian screened the information and divided the landlords in Laiwu County into 3 categories. Those who took advantage of the Jurchens to tyrannize the villagers were all punished and killed. Good gentlemen and those seeking fame and reputation allowed them to live, but restricted their rights. Those who hated the Jurchens and related interests were harmed, and I united them all. The first phase of the mission of the Red Army is to get rid of the first-class landlords and powerful people in the surrounding areas and destroy the weak grassroots ruling order of the Jin Kingdom. There are Gongli River and Fengsha River in the east of Laiwu County, and the two rivers converge at Mowen River to the west. The Red Coat Army Camp is located in the triangle where the two rivers intersect. The triangle area is about 33 square kilometers from the foot of the mountain. There are 4 first-class landowners living in 3 villages. They are the first targets of the Red Army. Among the 4 first-category landowners, the one named Zhang is the most powerful. With a towering archway and brick and stone courtyard walls as high as 3 people, it is like a small town. Zhang landlord's ancestors suddenly became rich and powerful by invading the Song dynasty with the Jin army. Although he has declined to a local power, he is still the dominant tyrant in Laiwu. He not only holds Zhangjiazhai in the palm of his hand, but also indirectly controls many surrounding small villages. If the Red Army wants to effectively control the triangle, this nail must be removed. In order to establish his authority, Yang Dian even took out a time-honored weapon, a front-loading bronze cannon. Early artillery was easier to make than firearms, but pulling it out of thin air was still a chore. Fortunately, bionic intelligent robots have auxiliary brains. The auxiliary brain's supercomputing interferes with neuron signals, and they can transform into biologically precise automated controls, which are 10,000 times more powerful than the 8th-level workers of future generations. If the equipment was not available, I polished it by hand and finally built an artillery piece quickly. And as the equipment is gradually replenished and rebuilt, artillery manufacturing will become easier and easier until it hits the ceiling of human resources. With the help of artillery, the Zhangjiazhai archway collapsed in time, and the other 3 vicious dog landlords and their henchmen were soon and unexpectedly captured and killed one by their red-coated troops. The people of Laiwu County are a group of people who have temporarily become slaves. They are very uncomfortable with the red-coated troops who raise their flags to rebel, but they have to adapt no matter how uncomfortable they are under the power. Yang Dianban forced each village to select 590 young men and women as labor force, and then returned the land seized by the 4 vicious landlord gangs to these laborers, and then leased it to their families and relatives for farming, and appointed these cultivated land relatives to supervise the order of the village. Interest is the most attractive thing. Regardless of whether they really support the Red Turban Rebellion in their hearts, 590 young men and women and their families are tied to the Red Turban Army tanks. Needless to say, there is no need to talk about the principle of national oppression. As long as the Red Army does not defeat and flee, the peasant families who are assigned the land will definitely protect the country to the death. Under the influence of the patriarchal concept, a full 150 women were cruelly pushed to the Red Army. It is said to be cruel because in the hearts of the people, the purpose of blackmailing these female workers by the Red Army was to suppress village wives or camp prostitutes, which was no different from killing them with a knife. Of course, their worries are in vain. Not to mention that the bionic intelligent robot is completely sterilized and sterilized. Even with normal physique, it is impossible to reach such a low limit. Female workers first undergo military training and screening, and those who pass are selected to form female soldiers, while those who are unqualified are assigned appropriate labor tasks. There are all kinds of joys and sorrows in this process, so there is no need to go into detail. Yang Dian led the Red Army's first round of expansion, which naturally gradually alarmed all forces. Not long after Yang Dian founded his army, some astute businessmen came to try to make things happen, and Fan Yuda was the first to try it. Fan Yuda has a good impression of the Red Army. This military camp is quite unique. They don't want wine, meat, and vegetables. What they want are cinnabar, saltpeter, silk, hard yellow paper, and other goods. It's not surprising that saltpeter is used. The army needs gunpowder.